Greetings and salutations to all of you beautiful listeners out there, and welcome to the next episode, I lost count again, of the KittyFoxCast. It is a chilly Monday night, November 4th, 2024, and we are fully in autumn as the trees continue to get more and more bare every single day. Lack of leaves and chlorophyll. So every day that I drive, I look out the window and I see more leaves upon the ground and less on the trees, and that means that winter is coming. How stark, winter is coming. Yes. Speaking of that, I've been rewatching Game of Thrones because I'm a gremlin like that. I'm probably going to stop at season 7 because I don't think I can bear to watch season 8 again. Little fun fact for you. The reason I even started watching Game of Thrones in the first place was because of a coworker. Now, I had heard about it for many years, but I never took the time to sit down and watch it. And it wasn't until last year that I finally committed to watching it, and would not have been possible if it wasn't for my coworker giving me, and you heard that correctly, giving me his entire box set of Game of Thrones from season 1 to 7. And you might be asking, well, it's not a box set if it doesn't include season 8. That's because he did not ever give me season 8 because he loved me. Okay? So I took it upon myself to watch season 8 on my own volition after that because I was like, I gotta know how this ends because I know how much it sucks and how much people are saying that it sucks. But I never knew until I watched it. And they were right all along. But that is a big tangent that I will not get on because I will not shut up if I don't stop talking about it now. So, what I want to talk about is actually something, a bit of Samson Kitty Fox lore for you today because I figure those of you who are avid listeners and those of you who have followed me for quite a while, you know the greeting, which is quite literally that I give in every single podcast, stream, some videos on the channel, and some ASMRs, if not most of them. I always start with greetings and salutations. Some of you have asked in the past, and some of you might be wondering now that I've brought it up, yeah, where did that greeting come from? Where did that intro come from? Well, I'm going to be honest. I stole it. Okay? I stole this greeting. I stole this intro from a very special piece of media to me. And this may or may not blow your mind. You may not be surprised, or you may be like, huh, I never realized that this is where it came from. Well, I'm going to tell you right now. So get ready. Here is the lore. The intro, greetings and salutations, came directly from a Three Stooges episode. I kid you not. It is the classic episodes with Curly Howard. So those of you who are Three Stooges nuts or who understand the history of the Stooges, the Curly episodes were not the originals because they started with Shemp originally, but Curly was the staple trio of the trio. This is the episodes that most people remember when they think of the Three Stooges. So, like when you think of the Three Stooges, you think of Moe, Larry, and Curly, right? So, it is from an episode called Boobs in Arms. And to those of you who need some context, the term boob for this time period in the 1930s was in fact referring to someone who was dumb or dull or stupid or basically just a nut, or boob meaning like someone who's brainless, right? As a matter of fact, I'm gonna look up right now boob insult etymology. Okay? The word, according to Google, the word boob has thought to have originated from German dialect word bubby, which is kind of funny to say, which means teat, T-E-A-T. In English, bubby may have been shortened to bub, like a bub, kind of like Wolverine, right? And then lengthened to boob. The earliest known use of the word boob was in 1907 in the Washington Post. The verb form of the word was recorded as early as the 1890s. Boob is a common slang term that's not considered inappropriate. It can also be used to describe an ignorant or a foolish person or an embarrassing mistake. Like someone made a boo-boo, for example, right? Or someone who's a fool or ignorant or just kind of stupid. So in this case, in this context, the word boob meaning stupid or ignorant or dull or just an idiot, right? So hence the title Boobs and Arms, right? So this episode of the Three Stooges, it was basically to kind of lay the ground a little bit and to give you like what it was about. It starts off with the Three Stooges being greeting card salesmen. As funny as that sounds. To any of you who know the Three Stooges, you understand that in every single episode, they pretty much have a different occupation. Like sometimes they're doctors, sometimes they're in the army, sometimes they're, scientists, sometimes they're electricians, that kind of thing. Then in this case, their job in this episode 52, which is their 52nd episode of shorts, because that's all they did at the time, was they did shorts that were usually like 10 minutes long, and they didn't have seasons. So it was like short 1 to short whatever, 110, whatever, however many they did. This in this case was episode 52. It was an episode in 1940, and the premise of the episode, as I started to say, was the Three Stooges start off as greeting card salesmen. They're just on the street and they are trying to sell greeting cards. And they're just like stopping people on the street, like, hey, how about a greeting card? Greeting cards, folks. Greeting cards, greeting cards. And then they get to a point where they like one guy like blows smoke in Curly's face, another lady punches them, another guy like threatens to beat them up because these people are horrible. I guess it's just the antics that they get themselves in, but that is the premise. And then eventually they get wrapped up in a situation trying to sell door to door, and then they get involved with somebody who is kind of lost in life, and they end up like she's lost in her marriage, and they end up trying to make the husband jealous. It's a very weird scenario, but they make it funny and weird as they do. And turns out this husband, who is unloving to his wife that they get wrapped up in the situation of, is an army sergeant, and they end up going to the army, right? I think trying to get away from this guy. They like enlist in the army, just trying to get away. That's how this episode is playing out. And the guy who they try to rescue this lady from, who this unloving husband, turns out to be the sergeant in their platoon. Okay, so you understand the premise. But there is a point at the beginning of the episode when they're on the street trying to sell greeting cards, where Mo, the tough one, the one who smacks them around, goes up to the lady who ends up punching them, right? Punching all three of them at the same time. Goes up to him and says this.
Right here, hold still in the Oh, greetings and salutations, greeting cards.
So that is where the term, the intro, greetings and salutations, comes from. And I, growing up, was always a Stooges fan. Like, my brother and I, we loved the Stooges. I still love the Stooges. They are comic icons, in my opinion. Like, all three of them were on the Mount Rushmore of, like, comedy, if I had to put them up there. And they have always been an influence on me comedically, and I always loved slapstick, and I've always loved physical comedy. I've always been a fan of physical comedy. As a matter of fact, you can ask any of my family members. I loved, you know, physical comic gags when I was growing up. I was always falling over, and I was always like pretending to be hurt just for a laugh. So in turn kind of became like the funny kid because I was the funny fat kid. So when funny fat kid falls down and spins around on his shoulder like Curly Howard, people tend to laugh. So that's kind of where a lot of my comedic background came from, if there is any, that is. But a lot of my comedic influence came from was the Three Stooges. So in this case, this episode, one of my favorites, one of my all-time remembered episodes in my past, it always stuck with me. And I remember, I don't have like a pinpointed memory of like hearing that greeting and going, oh, that's really cool. But if you look at my earlier videos, like in particular, the one, I believe the first time I ever used it was in the I Dated a Furry Hater video, which I will link in the description if you want to take a look. This is from over 4 years ago now. Hard to believe. I believe that is the first time I ever used that intro, Greetings and Salutations. And I remember it just kind of came out because when you have like subconscious memories of your childhood, your past, you remember things and they just kind of bubble up and they come out at different intervals in your life. So in that case, sitting in front of that camera, I wanted to be different because I didn't want to just be like, hey guys, like every other YouTuber, or what's going on, like every other YouTuber that you see on the platform. So I wanted to mix it up. So that was the first thing that came to mind because I remember sitting in my chair over 4 years ago in my parents' house recording that video. And I just was like, okay, so what do I say? I don't want to just be like generic, because I've already done that. So what could I say that would be capturing, like captivating to the audience? What could be a good intro that would be unique? And sure enough, when the camera started rolling, that's the first thing I said. And it just stuck ever since then. So now you know the lore, the little lore bits of my intro officially is from a Three Stooges episode. So yeah, I think I think that was a little something that was time to talk about. It's a little thing, but it's just a little nugget of lore that I think a lot of people would appreciate hearing. So with that, I hope that gave you something, to think about, and I hope that I cleared it up for some people who've been asking, because that's been and I can't tell you over the past almost 5 years now, how many people and friends and strangers and other people who have seen my videos and those who have come up to me at conventions, those who have come up to me at fur meets, those who I've just run into randomly, and of course friends do it as a bit, they do it as a funny thing, and I've had a lot of people impersonate me saying that line. Over the years there have been many who have just come up to me and said greetings and salutations. So I would like to say officially that it is definitely a staple at this point. And now you know where it comes from. So, there's some lore for you. Some Kitty Fox lore. Hope you enjoyed. And on that note, speaking of fur meets and the like, I did have quite an interesting weekend actually. I went to Columbus, Ohio over the weekend, which every month or so, there is what we call the Anthro Ohio Gallery Hop, which is a fur walk. So I know I've talked about this on the podcast before, but basically we go to downtown Columbus, which is huge, by the way. It's almost like it's got like a Pittsburgh vibe almost. It definitely feels like mini Pittsburgh. You get in suit. You hang out in front of the Columbus Convention Center, which feels like home. And then we walk around in suit, and we just give the public a lot of joy walking around in suit. This time there were about I want to say like maybe 40 to 50 fursuiters, which is pretty cool. Every month it varies in numbers, so it's definitely gotten a lot bigger since I started going a couple years ago. But yeah, this time it was quite large. There were a lot of people. As a matter of fact, it probably would have been larger if it wasn't for um, uh, oh, I'm gonna blank on the name. Uh, well, okay, sorry. Since Furpocalypse was going on, I couldn't think of the name. Since Furpocalypse was happening in Connecticut, and there were a couple other cons and meets going on at that time, so it probably would have been a little bigger if not for that. But hey, we still had a good time, you know. So, so we're out there in suit. I'm being Kibby Fops, of course. I'm just I got my little Beanie Baby tag, and I got my little fox bag, and I'm just being Kibby the whole time. And people, it's really nice, especially because the walk up to the convention center is fantastic because you have to walk the street. At least where I park, you have to walk a couple blocks to get to the convention center. So, you walk by, you wave at people, you high five people. People are honking at you. It's great. It's just a great vibe. And Columbus is honestly a really loving city to furries. At least in my experience, there is our local convention there that is called Anthro Ohio, which by the way has moved hotels since the Crown Royal Plaza, or just the Crown Plaza, I guess, to the Hilton in downtown Columbus, which is a huge step forward for Anthro Ohio. So, applause to Anthro Ohio, claps all around. Shout out to Shutter Bear Dog for arranging that and making that happen because we have outgrown the Crown Plaza officially, and we are now in the Hilton in downtown, which is fantastic. So, I'm looking forward to next year for Anthro Ohio, checking out the new hotel and seeing how we make it our home. But anyway, so we're hanging out, saying hi to friends, being all cute and fuzzy, and then we take the group picture, quite a bit of people, and we start our walk. But I have to mention that it is nearing daylight savings time. As a matter of fact, as of recording this, it is now officially past daylight savings time. So we have fallen back an hour in the U.S. At least this part of the U.S. we have, and that is for just, I guess, as a history lesson, it's mostly for farmers, right, and their crops. That's why daylight savings time is a thing and has been since the 1700s in U.S. history. But anyway, so at this point, it's getting dark, and we have to have a lot of chaperones, right? So our chaperones are herding us along like a bunch of animals, right? And we have to like crosswalk safely. We have to be aware of objects and people and, fire hydrants that you can't pee on. Shout out to Shen. And you have to be aware of bikers and, like I said, crosswalks, especially because those are the most dangerous. You have to be aware of puddles and trees, and you understand what I'm saying. But chaperones, all of them did a great job. Thank you all for making it a point to keep us safe during this walk. And essentially, what we do is we walk. I want to say it's give or take a mile, mile and a half, something like that, which is long when you're fursuiting. So we walk down the street. We go all the way down to greater downtown Columbus. We hang a left into this like apartment complex kind of parking lot, and then we get to wave up at the people who are looking out the windows like, hey, furries, and so get a little water break, and then we circle back and head back the way we came, back to the convention center. So it was a great time. Made a lot of people happy. There were a lot of people out there this particular night in Columbus because it was the perfect weather. And it was about 51 Fahrenheit, I believe. I'm going to look up the conversion real quick. Let's see, 51 Fahrenheit to Celsius is, give or take, 10.6 degrees Celsius to those of you who use the metric system. And it was like the perfect weather for fursuiting. We weren't too sweaty. It wasn't too droll. The sun had already gone down, and we were very comfortable. So I'm very happy to say that nobody got heat stroke, right? So As we're walking by, just waving to all the people, giving them high fives, taking pictures, giving hugs. It's great. What's great about the gallery hop is that you don't have to worry so much about sticking with the group. You can kind of like, veer off the path a little bit and, say hi to people, entertain, dance, give hugs, take pictures, wave at people in the restaurants and at the bars there locally and just make everybody smile. And we got a lot of hugs, a lot of pictures, a lot of just good vibes were going on that night. And of course, you have some people who are not big fans because they understand what it is. So there were definitely a handful of people that I would like offer a high five to or wave at or like squeak and try to get their attention, and they just would like ghost walk. Like they just ghosted you, walked by, didn't even look at you or acknowledge you. So I get it. It's not for everybody. But I have to say, the people who you can't really ignore a big pack of furries walking. Like, let's be honest here. There's like 40, 50 furries walking down the street, and like all these people who just like go stare straight ahead, don't even acknowledge any of them, and they're all like waving at you. Like that's hard to miss, right? I even got some pity waves. Like there were some people that I walked by, and I would like slow down and like wave, and they wouldn't acknowledge me, and then I would just like keep waving and like dance and like just be all cute and stuff, and then finally they would look and just give me like an up nod, like hey, or like they would just like raise their hand real quick, like as a small wave, and I was like, hey, I broke him, I got him to acknowledge, so that was a huge accomplishment. So there was a little tour bus that went by, a little Columbus tour bus that they loved us. Oh my gosh, like these people were on the road and they were touring the city and they were like, "Yo, furries, what's going on?" And everybody was so excited on that bus. Oh my gosh. We got so many pictures and high fives. Like they drove by us and at one point and people stuck their hands out the windows and like did like a passing high five like you see in the movies. Like people were on a bus, they stuck their hands out the windows and like we held our paws out and they just like high fived us all at the same time. It was fantastic. That was a huge highlight. Um, and of course, making some older people happy. Like what is all this? I made a very nice young. I say young lady, but a young old lady. Smile. I was being all cute, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, it's a beanie baby! It's how precious." So that really made me happy getting to make her day. And her husband was just like kind of indifferent, like, "All right, let's go," So that was nice. But I do have to talk about one particular or instance, I guess, instance that happened during this night that I don't know how to feel about it, but at the same time, I get it. Um, it was during our circle back when we were heading back to the convention center, about to finish the walk, and we get to a little strip of the road where, um, by the way, to those of you who are familiar with Columbus, Ohio, it is Main Street is where we were walking. We were walking mostly on Main Street, and so we were walking by this stretch of bars that were very busy. Like there were lines out the door and people packed in like crazy. And we walked by this small group, say like four people, and they there was a lady that was with them. I would probably guess maybe early 30s, if I had to, perceive from my very poor vision in fursuit. She comes up to me. She's part of this group of four. She comes up to me and she just like throws herself on me. Like, whoa, like what in the world? What are you doing? Right? Like she's very clearly inebriated. Like there is no question that she has had a little too many to drink, right? And she basically throws herself on me, and we are like touching each other. Like she's on me, and she's got her hands up. Thankfully, and I'm very thankful to say, and very clearly going to say, that she did not touch me inappropriately. I am very thankful for that. So I give that to her. But she was just on me. She was hugging me. She was like, she had her face like right. She had her face like right on my muzzle, and I was like recoiling so hard. Like I don't want to I don't want to like participate in whatever this is. And at the same time, I don't want to break character either because usually when I'm dealing with the public, I'm silent, right? I don't tend to talk very much when I'm dealing with the public. So, but she's on me, like muzzle, like her face is on my muzzle, and she just says to me in a very, very drunken way, she says, "You remind me of my dog." And I'm like, uh, okay. And then she said, "He's a husky." And then I think to myself, really? I look like a husky to you? Like, this is the thing. Again, she's inebriated, so what's she gonna say that makes sense, really? But she's like, you remind me of my husky. You're so cute. And I think she hugged me, and I gave her like this little tap on the shoulder, like, thanks for the hug, I guess. And then the group, thank God for this group, who were mostly, I would say, more sober than she was, like, physically had to drag her away from me. Like, they had to, like, someone, I just remember in my peripheral vision, somebody, like, coming up beside her and just, like, holding, like, grabbing her arm and just, like, pulling her away from me. And I was like, oh, thank God. Oh, that was uncomfortable. So that was an experience, to say the least. As a matter of fact, this is not my story to tell, but another friend of mine also had a run-in with this lady, and this suitor was wearing glasses, fursuit glasses. Shout out to fursuitglasses.com for making those, but also she tried to take their glasses, like, oh my gosh, can I have these? This is how it was described to me. Oh my gosh, can I have these? And I think they said, no, those are mine, and kind of like pushed her back, like, very, very gently, very lovingly, like, nope, those are mine, and they are also attached to my head, so please do not take my glasses, right? And they're also expensive, so I'm glad they didn't get broken. They could have easily gotten broken in that situation, so I am glad that it did not elevate. And when we chatted about it later, we were like, yeah, I'm pretty sure that was the same lady who we encountered together, like at different times. So, lady, if you're listening to this by some happenstance, I hope that you're okay. I hope you're doing well. Just know that you did not do anything um, that would cause any legal trouble. Thankfully, I'm very glad to say. But also, yeah, just remember when dealing with furries, we are people on the inside. And this is also a message to anybody out there who may be listening, who maybe have not dealt with fursuiters in person. We are people on the inside. We are just like you. Okay, we are human beings, and we also can feel things. Like, just because we're a big fluffy animal walking around, and I understand how tempting it is to just go up and just like squish them like a puppy or like a stuffed animal. We are not stuffed animals, okay? We have nerve endings and things hurt. So, and also want to mention, I did not get hurt, okay? There was no physical harm done. All I remember is just feeling very uncomfortable. So yeah, that's like the worst part of this whole thing was just the discomfort that happened. But I'm thankful to say that nothing elevated. So yeah, grateful for that. But yeah, just remember, ask before interacting. Ask for pictures, ask for hugs, ask if you can touch them, because maybe they are not keen on that. Maybe they're not keen on pictures. Maybe they're not keen on hugs, right? So, you know, just common sense, I think, is the right way to put that. So just remember, they are also people. And as tempting as it is to be excited and want to, throw them around like a plushie, they are not plushies. They are indeed human beings. So it's my little PSA for this podcast. Hope that made sense. So that's something I'll never forget. And afterwards, we got back to the convention center, and we had a nice little chat, said our goodbyes, and we went out to get pizza, which is fantastic. So great pizza. If any of you are down in the Columbus area, greater Columbus area, check out Mikey's Late Night Slice. Very good pizza, very good beer, fantastic sauce, by the way. So shout out to Mikey's. Thanks for being loving to furries and also being supportive, because that's kind of like the little hangout spot after the gallery hop. Is people just go to Mikey's and like we just hang out and have pizza. It's a great time. I also saw a giant poster or painting poster of Vigo from Ghostbusters 2 hanging in the Mikey's restaurant. And of course, I sat right in front of him, so he was staring at me the entire time. Of course, because why not, right? I also got to point out I did stick one of my Fursona stickers somewhere in that same Mikey's location, and I checked for it, and it was still there. So we got it. We're still here. Like we're accomplished in that. Like Samson is still hanging out in that Mikey's underneath one of the bars. I'm not gonna say where, but any of you who are in the downtown Columbus Mikey's late night slice, check out underneath the main bar. You will see a Samson sticker. So little tidbit for you. And then nice long drive back home. Basically fell asleep when I got home, and the next day woke up. Went to Sunday services, which was fantastic. Got to connect with some friends and got to enjoy the good word. And also got home. Well, actually, I went shopping first. I bought some. This is kind of out of character for me, but I bought new coasters for my coffee table because the other ones I had were very cheap and prone to break easily. So I bought some NES cartridge shaped coasters. So pretty cool. I got some that say Metroid. I got some that say Super Mario. I got one that says Legend of Zelda. So those are my main coasters in my house and on my coffee table now. And that was a nice little find at the store that I went to. So yeah, I feel accomplished in that too. But Sunday I did nothing. Absolutely nothing. I caught up on some YouTube videos. I hung out with some people on Discord and, chatted and that. And I got a proper nap, which was really nice. I had my mother's homemade lasagna, which, by the way, I want to mention on Friday night, I did get to see my aunt and my cousin who came up from South Carolina. So shout out to them. Mom made homemade lasagna, deep dish, so it was really good. And we had a great time on Friday night. So yeah. But yeah, Sunday I did nothing. I just laid around, took a nap, did some things around the house, and didn't bother to really do anything. So I think that's just what I needed. It was a nice restful day just to tune out and do nothing. And we've talked about this on the podcast and other videos before about resting. Sometimes you just gotta rest. Sometimes you just gotta tune out, take some time for yourself, enjoy the fruits of your labor that you had produced over the past week with work and other things. And it's important to just relax when you can. In this case, yesterday was the relax day, so I'm very grateful for that. Let's see. Oh, I was also, for some reason, I went into a little bit of a rabbit hole last night. I was watching the Mandela Catalog, which, to those of you who are unfamiliar, it's it's not really a conspiracy. It's a YouTube horror series about like doppelgangers. It's really interesting. So, content warning: if you are sensitive to jump scares and or like some mental health triggers, please do not indulge in this. But it's the kind of horror that I like. It is analog horror mostly, and it kind of follows the storyline of three different people who are having an unfortunate experience with a paranormal, so to speak, like spree of doppelgangers, like their own doppelgangers. So I highly recommend it if you're into that kind of thing. So that was interesting. And then last night, went to sleep, got a good amount of sleep. Woke up today and went to work, and it was a busy day, but not much to really talk about. Just another day in the office. However, I do want to talk about a very particular quote that I got in my daily Stoic quote reader, which I've talked about before. It really got me thinking. And as all of you know, I do enjoy Stoic philosophy. It's one of my favorites, other than like biblical or Confucius or really any other bouts of wisdom that come from my studies in the past. But this one in particular is from Marcus Aurelius, Roman Emperor, and I never read this before, but this is from his book on meditations, as we've talked about before. And the quote goes like this: "Does the emerald lose its beauty for lack of admiration?" I'm going to repeat that because it's worth it. Marcus Aurelius, Roman Emperor, back in the BC days of Rome, said, "Does the emerald lose its beauty for lack of admiration?" So, an emerald is a green stone. It's a green gemstone. It's also, funny enough, the birthstone of May, which is when I was born, so that really hit home for me. But it got me thinking, does the emerald lose any beauty from lack of admiration? The truth is, we're all on this planet, and we want to do great things. We want to be admired. We want to show the world what we're made of. We want to be praised on some level, and we want to be acknowledged, and we want attention. Let's be honest here. We are attention-seeking creatures, right? From the time that we're born, we cry for attention, right? We cry for needs. We cry for wants. We cry and we whine sometimes for attention. Sometimes think about when you're a kid. Maybe you faked being hurt because you wanted your one of your parents' sympathy, right? Maybe for attention, you do something crazy on the internet, like eat a ghost pepper or a Carolina Reaper, heaven forbid, right? Let's face it, we are creatures of attention. This is what we want in our lives. And some of it can be egotistical, but not all of it is. Like, it's a natural thing that we want to encounter attention from other people. We want to show off what we're doing. We want to show off the work that we do. We want to be acknowledged, and we want to be rewarded for what we have to basically prove. But over time, sometimes those things can turn stale. Like, if we keep doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results, that's called insanity, right? From the time that we're born in our development, if we keep doing these same things over and over, and if they don't garner the same reactions, what do? We end up adjusting. We end up doubling down sometimes on that action. Like, how can we make it better? How can we improve? How can we continue to be successful, because the same thing that we've been doing, or that I've been doing, is not garnering the same reaction that I expect, or the same praise, or the same results. So we double up. We double down sometimes, right? And as a matter of fact, like, we all do this on a daily basis, some of us to some extent. Even at your own work, you want to do your job well. You want to do things the right way that you should do, and you want to do it the way that, of course, that you want to do it in the way that you see fit, but also that does things for the good of whatever your job is, right? And for some people, it's just a paycheck. I understand this, but there is something within you that says, I want to do a good job. I want to improve more. And by improving, you end up doing things better, and then maybe you move up in the company or your schooling, get better grades. If you're in a sports team, you adjust your methods to make you a better player on that team. Maybe it's YouTube. I am constantly, and let me tell you something, a little bit more lore for you. I am constantly in my own head being critical to myself. That's another quote. I don't know who originally said it, but we are our own worst critic. And why? Like, is it fair to be critical to yourself? Well, not in a harsh way, but I would say it is healthy on some level to be critical to yourself, because how are you going to improve otherwise, right? So, a lot of times with something like, in my case, being a YouTuber, I'm looking at numbers, I'm looking at comments, I'm looking at likes, I'm looking at, analytics and, payment, that kind of thing. And, you know, those are things that come with the territory. They are not the driving motivation, like the main drive for why I do what I do, but they're there as like a side, kind of like a side tell, if you will, side information to kind of let you know, hey, you got this many subscribers last month, you made this much money, you got this many comments and views on a video, etc., etc. And then it goes on with every video, like it's unavoidable, right? But as I was saying, I am constantly in my own head. Not necessarily to get the numbers up or anything, but I'm constantly in my own head saying, being critical, how can I make my content better? What can I do to improve my own styles? What can I do to continue to be better on this platform? And how can I give these people that watch what they want to see? How can I continue to be better? And how can I continue to improve? So, and I just want to mention, like, there is some level of it that is attention, by attention. Like, how do I capture somebody's attention in a video? How do I capture their attention in an ASMR? How do I, implement a certain element in my live streams to make them more entertaining? These are things that I think about, and it's not in a way to be egotistical. It is a way for me to continually be better. So that was quite a bit of information to unpack in just that little quote from Marcus. But I think the overall point that Marcus is trying to make here is, think of yourself as the emerald. Think of yourself as the diamond, as the ruby, as the amethyst, or whatever. Use whatever sparkly stone you want to use as for this analogy. And think of yourself as that stone. Do you lack any beauty that stone is or produces? I don't think it's that. I don't think it's that you lack beauty, because the beauty is standard. It's already there, right? You as a person, you as that stone, you're already beautiful inside and out. And you're going to stay that way, right? But it's the reaction that we look for oftentimes. Oftentimes when we feel like people aren't admiring us, or when we feel like people aren't paying as much attention, or we're not getting the same reactions or feedback that we had previously, that we are somehow broken, we're somehow not beautiful, we're somehow not worth it, we're somehow not what it used to be, or not what we used to be. And I'm here to tell you that that is absolutely not the case. Okay? Now, of course, with the side note, the little coda to put in there, that if you're doing something that is, as a matter of fact, unhealthy, if you're in some habits that are not healthy, that is, degrading or making you less of a person than you once were, as far as like, unhealthy habits, then yes, you should definitely be critical of yourself and like reassess and try to get back on a healthier path. That is understandable. But overall, you're the same person. You are just as beautiful when you started as you are now. And it's only going to get better from here. The only thing that changes, two things that change. One is your perception of yourself, how you view yourself, what you feel you bring to the table, and what you can produce more versus less, and how you can make yourself better, and what roadblocks could potentially make things worse, right? It doesn't make you any less. It's what you do that changes, right? And it's how you think of it that changes. And also, there's also the second, number two, is how people perceive you. People are going to perceive you however they're going to perceive you. Their opinions are going to change. They're going to have different reactions. They may grow tired of you and go somewhere else, and that happens, right? You can't keep those same people forever and ever. People come in and out. They, maybe appreciate your work for a little bit of time, and then they move on to something else. It happens in our lives too. Think about that music artist that you loved in high school, right? Maybe you don't listen to them as much anymore. It's not that you hate them. It's not that you don't particularly like their music anymore. If that is the case, then okay. But maybe it just doesn't suit you anymore. Maybe it's not what it used to be. Maybe you just feel like you've grown up. Maybe you feel like you've moved on to other things. And that's okay, right? I was thinking about this very thing. Like somebody had made a YouTube video about this very same thing, talking about YouTubers like in the past and how it doesn't feel the same anymore. You know, there are a handful of YouTubers that I can think of right now that I don't watch anymore. And it's not because I hate them. It's because I don't particularly find them entertaining as much as I used to. I don't, maybe it's not really my style of videos that I watch anymore. Maybe it's just not the same as it once was because maybe I feel like they changed, but of course they did. It's called growing. We all change. We all evolve and we all, take on new responsibilities and new habits and, our lives can change for the better and sometimes they just change for indifference. Like I was here, now I'm over here. That's how life goes. But the main point that Marcus is making here, you are no less beautiful than when you started. It is the admiration and the reaction from other people and yourself. That's what changes. And it's not particularly a bad thing either. It doesn't have to be a good thing either. It just happens. It's part of life. So I'm here to tell you that you are no less beautiful than when you started. Just because people's reactions are different, just because you may think of yourself any different than you once have, it doesn't change the fact that you are indeed beautiful like an emerald or a diamond or a ruby or an amethyst or whatever stone you want to put in that analogy. So I hope that's encouraging to let you know that you are just as precious and you matter just as much, if not more now than you once, even more now than you ever did. And the only thing that changes is perception, yours and other people's. You are unchanging in the fact that you are beautiful, and never forget that. So I hope that was a bit of encouragement for you. Some wise words from Marcus Aurelius, and I think we can go on making things that we do, whether that's the examples that I gave, like wherever you are in life right now. Just remember, you can always make things better, and if things stay the same for a while, that's okay. And maybe you need to reassess some habits, or maybe reassess some of your own personality traits. Maybe something is bugging you, or you just can't figure out what's going on in your life that maybe you need to sit down and think about for a while. Maybe write about it. Maybe talk to a friend and reassess and see how you can make things better, how you can improve. Because the truth is, we're always improving. Always. Every time. Like every single day is a chance to be better. And we're not going to be perfect. We are never going to be perfect ever in this life. And we can improve from the time that we're born to the time that we're 80 years old on our deathbed. Even on our deathbed. I think I heard it once said that a person on their deathbed can have a revelation. And that there is change. That moment that they had a revelation is improvement in itself. So we are constantly working on ourselves. We are constant works of art that are continuously being sculpted and perfected throughout life. And it doesn't make you any less beautiful. It just makes you better. So on that note, I want to leave it there, and I want to say thank you all for listening. I hope that your week is going well, and I hope that the start of November has been smooth for you as we go into the fall season. And to those of you who are listening abroad, whatever season you're in right now, I hope it has been smooth as well. And I just want you to know that I am still continually grateful for all the support and love that you continuously give to me every single day, from all your comments to your likes to, all the sweet words on different social media platforms, and, all that good stuff that you continually just pour out. And I could not be more grateful for you and what you have done in my life. I've said it before and I'll say it again. You help me live my dream every single day. And it is my responsibility to show you my own beauty, However you perceive this kitty fox, whether you are new, or you've been around for a while, or maybe you're returning after some years and, you're just coming back to see how Samson's doing. I want to say that I appreciate you, and I cannot be more grateful for everything you've done for me every single day. And I will always, always hold that true, no matter what. So until next time, my friends, stay fuzzy, and always remember the Latin phrase sic Parvis Magna, which is Latin translated to English. It is greatness from small beginnings. Remember where you started, where you came from, and those who brought you up. And when you look back on your life from the time you started, I'm guessing that it's way different than it used to be. And just know that you're on a journey to fulfill a purpose, and you're not done yet, and the world needs you. You. The world is in need of you. And in the same way, just remember to always be you. Be yourself. Don't be anybody else. Don't let anybody ever tell you who you should be or shouldn't be, or what you should and shouldn't do, because that is something that you need to decide for yourself. And always remember that there has been no one like you in this world in the past. There will be no one like you in the future ever. And there is no one like you right now. Only you can do the things the way that you can. And remember to never forget your own inner beauty and outer beauty. And just you as a person are beautiful all around. So until next time, my friends, this is Samson Kitty Fox. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. I love you all. And I will see you in the next episode. Bye. Bye-bye. Love you.